Something we've talked about a bit is just kind of parsing out all of the worthless things that you might do throughout a day, things that just really don't matter in the grand scheme of things, just getting rid of those and just assessing what you actually need to do in order to be successful, because a lot of the things that you think that you need to do are just unnecessary commitments that don't benefit you in any material, any sort of emotional, any sort of just tangible way, and you just do them to do them. Okay, there's no benefit gain there. There's no burden that you're carrying in order to just, I don't know, make yourself feel a little bit more important. When you just take the time to assess what you're doing on a daily basis, you find out that there's a bunch of different things that you can remove. Okay, so that you'd have more time for yourself, more time for the people that you love in your life, and you know what, hey, maybe be able to improve those relationships, improve your own human performance. And that's something that I harp on here for very good reason. So, letting go of imaginary needs. Let's go ahead and assess this topic, this idea from a different perspective. Live simply like a child, except for not being a child, because let's be fair, let's be honest, okay? Being a child kind of sucks. You can't do nearly anything that you want to do. And even with the global climate that's going on right now, you can't really do what we really want to do. But I digress. Let's just imagine that the world is back to normal. An infant needs very little to be happy. Clothes, food, love, and a place to explore. That's it. Yeah, that sounds fun. It sounds awesome. And with that advice, I'm just going to go move into a log cabin. I'll be back. No, I've got to finish this video. They have so few needs, they're so happy. Or when they're not happy, it's usually because one of their few needs is not being met. As these toddlers grow up, their needs multiply faster than the hairs on their head. But many of these needs are made up. We invent them to address fears, insecurities, and worries about the future. Worst of all, these needs are insatiable. We buy more stuff, but don't come up any closer to satisfaction. We invest more in the precious time, but end up further from the destination. We work harder to find happiness, but instead we carry an enormous burden. Sadly, most people can't recognize imaginary needs in their own life. The sheer number of influences of their needs makes them appear so real. They weave their way into their subconscious and shape the way that we see the world. Take a look, a hard look. Hot. Have any of these imaginary needs become part of your life? Let's see what kind of a list they have here. It looks fairly extensive. The need to keep busy. Yeah, if you're just doing things for the sake of doing them, and you're just kind of living your life, killing time, you're just killing yourself. You should always be moving towards something. There's always something useful that you can do, okay? And there's a difference between not seeing and thinking that something that you're doing at the time is just kind of useless. It's not really helping you in the short to mid-term. But when you take a look at something and then you just extrapolate it out further of how that can help with, I don't know, maintaining and building a routine, that will at least be helpful. Like cleaning the house, okay? The need to please everyone. Yeah, no, that's just stupid. If you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one. The need to be entertained constantly. Yeah, consider trying to detox from dopamine that you constantly need to. Where's my phone anyway? Constantly have this in your face. Oh, I need constant stimulation all the time. It is annoying, okay? And it's just patently absurd that you need to constantly be stimulated at every single waking moment. No, you don't. Be comfortable with yourself, because at the end of the day, it's kind of a downer message, but it's the only person that you can rely on. You need to stay current with news and trends. No, you should always have a general idea of what's going on, but should you stay immersed in it at all times? No, just take a look at Brian Stelter of CNN if you think that that's a good idea. The need to buy gifts for everyone on every special occasion. Again, that goes back to trying to please everyone. You keep trying to, I don't know, just create this air that you're the most generous person, that you need to go out there and prove your worth to other people. That's just a aching tell that you're not secure with yourself. And I know I'm pointing to myself because I found myself in that situation more times than I can really count, and it took me a long fucking time. A long darn time, whatever. Maybe I'll cut that out. Maybe I won't. I don't care. It took me a long time to really come to that realization. The need to hoard money and possessions to feel secure. Yes, the fear of missing out. The fear that I won't be able to get any more money. I won't be able to do this. I won't be able to do that. It's probably fine because what you want to spend your money on is probably not that consequential anyways. The need to be involved in every single activity. Again, the fear of missing out. The need to be the center of attention. Again, the need to please everybody. The need to be entertained constantly. The need to be the center of attention. Well, why? You think that you're a lesser person if you don't think that everybody notices you all the time? Cool, that must suck to live every waking moment on what everybody else thinks of you. That sounds like hell on earth. The need to be perfect or the best. Oh, you should always put your best foot forward, but if you're trying to constantly achieve perfection, you're always going to come up short. You should always aim for it. But you shouldn't hinge your satisfaction on achieving perfection because you're going to drive yourself mad in order to attain something that's simply unattainable. The need to have all of the answers. Again, exact same thing. You're just trying to be perfect in your pursuit of knowledge, where it's always laudable to be on a path of constant human development. It's just trying to know everything about everything is a fool's errand. It's a child's endeavor. The need to control the future. You can't control the past. You can't control the future. All you do is control the present. And the need to impress others. Again, see the multiple other points on this list, okay? The hinging your self-worth on what other people think of you is dumb. No two ways about it. And the need to be right. Again, if you know that you're being true to yourself, who gives a crap what anybody else thinks? Letting go isn't easy. It can be painful, humbling, and even scurry. Our habits, both positive and negative, are comforting to us. They provide a source of predictability in the chaotic, confusing world. But letting go is awesomely liberating. That's a sentence. Okay, like a child on the last day of school, you'll be light as a feather, happy and free to do whatever excites you. Yeah, that was always the most freeing day, okay? And then Labor Day weekend was always the most depressing because it was always just going back to school, but I haven't need do that in a long time, and now Labor Day rules. But anyways, here's some tips in order to achieve that list that we ran down. Simplify your routines. Basically, yes, assess what you're doing, figure out what's stupid, get rid of it. The default for all of us is to keep adding more and more to our lives. We're constantly searching for that one thing to fill the void we are feeling in the particular moment or season. And so our list of things we need to do each day becomes longer and more complicated. You don't really need to do a lot of things other than a very, very, very short of vulgar things. But you need to breathe. That's about it. Outside of that, everything else is kind of negotiable. Don't confuse want with need. Basically. To simplify, start by creating a simple morning or evening routine. And evening routine. I'm so used to just reading or. Yes, everything should be routinized. Everything that you do on a consistent basis, so you don't have to make that decision, because there's also studies and scientific evidence to prove that the human mind only has a capacity for a certain amount of decisions a day. It's different for everybody, but the more things that you can automize during your day, like picking out clothes, like just set them out before bed, so you just always wake up and it's just, okay, over here's my pile of clothes. I do my laundry certain set days in the week. I eat this for dinner. I do this much meal prepping. All that kind of stuff is just done and dusted and figured out. You have the time set aside for it so that you have the most amount of time out there available for any of the other fluid situations that happen throughout the day. You strip away the non-essentials. Basically the foundation of this entire video. Now, as you go through your day, pay attention to where your mental energy is going. Make a list of all those things that you do and think about. It might take a few days or even a week to gather a full list. You just have to want to know the answer, basically. Now take that list and recreate it into 2 columns. There are things that are truly necessary and good in one column, and things that are non-essential or distracting from what is good in another. Now try living a week with only what you wrote down in the first column. Exactly. Now, if it's things that you just don't want to do but are long-term beneficial things, those are things that you have to do, okay? Those are things that are good for you. Like, okay, if you don't enjoy exercising, but you know that you need to go out there and you need to do a moderate cardiovascular exercise for 20 minutes a day. Yeah, it sucks, but yeah, you have to do it because you'll never improve if you don't do it, okay? That's just one example, but it's something that needs to be done. Sit with your boredom. No. Be comfortable with yourself, okay? And then don't just sit there thinking how bored you are. Start to be fascinated with the world around you. Start reframing your thoughts. And that kind of talks to the second point there, so we're just going to work these both together. Sit with your emotions, sit with your boredom. Yeah, I mean, the same thing. Like, isn't being bored a state of mind and emotion in and of itself? In your attempt in this new way of living, you will inevitably find more time on your hands, a time that will be used to spend on distraction, worry, or some other invented need. You will inevitably feel a bit of boredom. This will feel scary and uncomfortable, but it is a normal part of the adaptation process. Just like when you first start exercising after a long break, your body feels awkward and uncomfortable, and it's hard to imagine doing this to yourself every day. But if you stick with it, you will eventually enjoy it again. When I first started to go to the gym, 16 years old, big fat dude, just go watch the first video that's on the channel. I think it's the trailer or the channel video when you first go, but anyways, yeah, when I was pushing about 4 bills, one of the first few days when we were running through full body exercises, well, actually when I first started, it was a 5-day routine, and we'd hit a different muscle group each day. I think it was, I'd hazard to guess, but I know it was arms, chest, back, shoulders, and legs. I remember because we still had first year of high school gym. We're doing, it was either shoulders or back, and my muscles were so full of lactic acid, I couldn't even pick my arms up for the better part of a week. I had to sit it out. I just couldn't do it until I realized that, oh yeah, no, that's just how your body feels when you put in some good work. So you're a lot stronger than you think you are, okay? Because I put up a mental block thinking that I couldn't really do anything about it. But as soon as you started to move a little bit, you realize that, oh, okay, cool, I can actually get through that. That's awesome. I'm stronger than I thought. Yeah, and then sit with your emotions on top of boredom. You'll likely feel other difficult emotions, like, I'm telling you this and you won't be surprised. Nothing is wrong. You shouldn't throw in the towel because the other side of this transformation is worth it. Yeah, it might seem dark at the minute, but eventually there is a little light at the end of the tunnel, or a rope at the end of a beam. You've likely been using imaginary needs to fill voids in your life, or to hide from these difficult emotions, or important but difficult personal work. In a sense, we are ripping off a bandage that is obstructing healing. Sounds good. Allow your tastes to adjust. Sorry. Okay. Imagine you've been living on high salt, high fat, sugar, fast food diet, and someone tells you to start eating healthy and hands you a high fiber sandwich full of veggies and avocado. Well, again, why are you mixing carbs and fats? That person's not doing you any benefits, but I get the sentiment, okay? That sandwich may be delicious to some, but for you, the change sounds impossible. And it probably is. Oh no, your tastes are accustomed to the diet of foods that are unnaturally stimulating and perfectly optimized for pleasure. Even a satisfying and delicious balanced diet would taste bland at first, but believe me, there's hope. Exactly, because everybody has an idea of what their optimal life is, okay? You probably know eventually what you want to do with your life, okay? Where you want to live, what you want to look like, who the people around you look like, who they are. Basically a full idea of what your life is, and if you don't, please do, consider nailing down those very important parts of your life. And it doesn't get there by just staying in the same rut and doing the same things over and over and over again. You have to start making some changes. You have to start making some improvements somewhere. So first and foremost, it's sticking to a balanced diet free of, high fat, high sugar, the fast foods, obviously. Once you've stripped out the junk food in case imaginary needs. Oh, interesting. And given your taste buds and brain a chance to readjust, it takes a couple of weeks. It's that magical 3 weeks, 21 days in order to properly establish a routine. So if you do something day after day after day, you'll eventually figure out that, oh, okay, cool. Once I can get a few days in a row going, that's awesome. And then if you fall off once, that's fine. You just stop that failure right there, and then you're immediately back on the wagon, so that you don't have an excuse. Oh, I fell off the wagon today, so that means that I can just, hey, eat the other sleeve of Chips Ahoy because I already messed up once. It's like, it doesn't really work like that. Just establish a routine and continue down that path. You'll eventually find contentment and enjoyment in your life. In fact, you'll likely find an even deeper sense of both. Fair enough. And finally, fill your life with what matters. Now for the fun part. If you've, with your life simplified and not overwhelmed by imaginary needs, you will be able to find pleasure and enjoyment in life's simple pleasures again. You don't need the high stimulation that you get from your distraction or worry or attention or daydreaming to get through your life. You can fill it with what are truly meaningful and important: relationships, faith, meaningful work, good food, and play. Fair enough? Fair enough. I hope you do take that time to sit down, figure out what stupid, worthless things you do on a consistent basis that drain your energy, drain your thoughts. Take them, scrunch them up in a ball, throw them away, replace them with something more worthwhile. You decide what is worthless, you decide what is worthwhile. Make the life adjustments that you deem necessary, and just experience the benefits of doing as much. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.